WLHR, Las Vegas Hot Radio, the heart and soul of Las Vegas music.
Stay tuned for What's Up Las Vegas with your host, Lynelle Baker.
Right here on LasVegasHotRadio.com.
What's up, Las Vegas Hot Radio? This is your girl, Lynelle, and I am here today with my very special guest, Mr. Tony Newton. Tony is a legend. He is a Hall of Famer. He's been playing instruments since he was 6 years old, and he's worked with some of the greats at Motown. Hi, Tony. Welcome to What's Up, Las Vegas.
Hi, Lynelle. Glad to be here.
We're glad to have you. Can you tell the listeners a little bit about your story? You know, how did you start it at 6 years old? Something.
That's quite a story. Actually, there was, when I was probably 4 or 5, there was a neighbor that had a piano, and I used to go over there and pound out some things. And then next thing I knew, my father bought me a plastic saxophone for Christmas. And so after I played the keys off of that, he got me a real saxophone. And so then I played all the woodwinds all throughout schooling, like elementary, junior high, and high in Detroit. And then there was a time when, let's say early 60s, when electric bass was coming on the scene. So, and radio was really pumping. So I liked that particular instrument, and so I gravitated to it because it touched my soul in a way that I knew it had a lot of power and emotional influence. And so that's kind of how I got started. Then I went on to do, lots of other things.
A lot of other things that I don't really know where to start because it's been so many, and you've worked with so many greats. You've been on the road with as musical director for Smokey Robinson and the Miracles, Stevie Wonder, Diana Ross. I'm sure I'm probably leaving someone out.
Well, everybody at Motown, what happened was I was, the first people I started playing with was blues guys because I could easily play with them and play the bass, so I would cut some hair off of my head and glue it on to my left side. I had a mustache so I could get into the clubs and play where I look older, and so that's what I did. And so like I said, this was around the time when Motown was blossoming and still developing. And so the great James Jamerson, he was on the road with Smokey, and they was looking for someone to replace him because they wanted him to stay in the studio. So I was playing with Johnny Hooker, and one of the A&R executives at Motown listened to me. And I didn't know all this was going on. I wanted to get in there, right, because there was words going around, rumors and all this around town. They're looking for people, but I didn't know they were going to show up looking for me. So the next morning, there was a knock at the door from Ronnie White of the Miracles. And so, I mean, it started right there. And I did the Motown tour throughout Europe with all of the Motown acts. So I basically played on all of them, and as well as played on some of the recordings. Stop in the Name of Love, Baby Love, Where I Love Go. That's what Diane and Supremes, and Nowhere to Run with Martha and the Vandellas and Marvin stuff and Stevie stuff and Smokey stuff. And then Colin and Dozier left Motown, and they were the top writers. And so I kind of started working with their company, and I became their main bassist. So I played on mostly everything that came out of Hot Wax Invictus Records. And that's when I had my first gold record with the Eighth Day as a group, my own self-contained group. I was putting together. And so all of that happened, but then their record company wasn't very supportive, and things fell apart because I had people from all over the country, and it's very hard to keep people together if the business isn't together. So that fell apart. Then I stopped putting some groups together around Detroit, Nova Star, and North Star, that's it, North Star. And then and a couple of other ones, and they were okay.
There's so many you can't remember.
Yeah, I mean they were okay, but I wasn't interested in playing in clubs, and so I had been to California 4 times with Smokey, right, and so we did the Tammy show. That's with James Brown and Marvin and the Supremes and all of that. And so I had some connections out here. I like the weather. I don't want to go back to like New York or Atlanta or any of that stuff. I don't want to be in the cold weather anymore. And it was quite enlightening, the cultural aspect and humanity aspect was really interesting to me in Los Angeles because it was a wide range of cultures. And I had quite a few connections here, which got me started when I moved here. But after I moved to, I played on lots of stuff like Mamas and Papas and the Motown on the West Coast, like Jackson 5, Never Can Say Goodbye, I'll Be There, and that type of stuff. But at the same time, I'm still interested in being an artist. So a friend of mine, Michael Henderson from Detroit, as well as Ralph Armstrong, Ralph was playing with Mahavishnu Orchestra, John McLaughlin, and Michael was playing with Miles Davis. Tony's looking for somebody. Tony Williams is looking for somebody. Tony Williams is a drummer. He played, he was 16 years old when he played with Miles Davis. And so he's putting together a fusion group. He's putting together, made a tribe about 40 cats. And so I sent him some excerpts of my playing on a cassette tape, and then they sent for me the next day to play with him, as a group, and as they say, the rest is history. We created lots of great music that's still strong today. And I love playing with all types of music and all types of artists because each one of them are great into of themselves, and each one is a new experience musically, right?
Yes, jazz is really where you got your start. That's more your forte, but you kind of branched out into soul.
Well, yeah, soul and fusion, and because when I moved here, I decided I wanted to go back to school and to be on the level of Beethoven, Chopin, or any other composer. And so I did just that, and then I went all full circle back to the piano. Back for all of these years, and I put about 6 years into the piano every day, and had some great teachers, and piano composition and orchestration and all of that. But before I could just play bass, and but now I'm a full-fledged artist, and I cover the whole range, and as well as I create my own sound. I've discovered a new sound, Novophonics, new harmonies, right, and I'm into healing through music, so I take music very seriously, and I believe that great music can touch a person and have an influence on them. Just like everybody's got a song when they met their wife, and they have their favorite song that was playing when they met or something like that, right? Or they'll play certain music when they're down or when they're up.
Absolutely. for all different moods.
Right.
So, Tony, I'm curious to know how many instruments in all do you actually play? Okay, you started out at 6 years old playing the sax, then you transitioned to the bass, you learned the piano. Do you play other instruments or just those three?
Well, you have to keep in mind that there's, soprano, alto, tenor, C melody, baritone, and bass. There's 6 saxes and alto clarinet, B flat clarinet, bass clarinet, and contrabass, and 4 clarinets and 2 flutes. So I play all of. Well, I did play all of them, but my focus now is on bass, piano, and I play drums too, but they have drum machines these days. But I always have a great drummer playing with me all the time, and so I mainly focus on the bass and piano these days, but I would say, 11 or 12 instruments that I could play.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. That's very impressive that you can play that many instruments and obviously play them well. You mentioned the Novaphonic. I want to go back to that because you use that as a way to heal people through music.
Right.
I want to go to a quick commercial break, and when we come back, I want you to go into a little bit more detail about that because our listeners will be very curious about that. So we'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen, right after this.
More music with less interruptions. Las Vegas Hot Radio, the heart and soul of Las Vegas music.
Since November 2016, the Black Gold Movement has been working to create a new reality for Black people, one that we can own, control, and pass to our children. A Black nation within this nation. We need your help to create this by becoming a supporting member of the Black Gold Nation for just a monthly fee of $4. Invest by going to www.blackgold-wakandarising.com and clicking support now.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to What's Up Las Vegas with your host, Lynelle Baker. If you're just joining us, we have a very special guest today, Mr. Tony Newton. Tony has been inducted into the Hall of Fame. He's worked with the likes of Diana Ross, Stevie Wonder, Marvin Gaye, Smokey Robinson, all of the Motown greats. He's been in the business basically since he's 6 years old. And I keep laughing at that because that's amazing that you started off at 6 years old playing instruments and now you play like 12 or 13 instruments. You have a dynamic story. We were talking a little bit about something called Novaphonics that you mentioned, and it's how you use music to actually heal people. And I'm pretty intrigued by that, and I want to know more, and I'm sure the listeners want to know more. So can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Okay. I'm a music scientist and a music artist. Now, the way it started was I was tired of listening to the same sounds that were out there. And I said to myself, well, there has to be some other sounds. So I meditated and researched for a couple of months, and then it kind of came to me through meditation that the answer was in the overtone series. Like if you knock on anything like the door, the phone, the floor, they all sound different because of what's called the overtone series. And so what I did is I did very deep and thorough research on the overtone series and found a dimension that nobody had found yet. Beethoven, there has been composers that have found tapped into it, but they didn't explore it as deep as I did. Beethoven was writing in fifths on his deathbed, and Schoenberg, he's done some work, but none of them covered all of the colors. I found 15,000 of course, through numerical combinations. Like regular music is made up of 1, 3, and 6s and 7s and stuff like that, whereas mine is 1, 2, and 5, and 4. Like you have several 5s. And so what happens is that about after the third overtone rings, they start to synchronize, which gives this tremendous sound of resonance, meaning ringing. And so it synchronizes with our nervous system and anything, our environment as well. So, I mean, if one has heard Gregorian chant, they use fifths and fourths. And actually, as Africans, they started singing in fifths and fourths, but they only use 2 or 4. I use 12, right? And so I just started writing things, and I still do to this day. Initially, I composed, writing a book on composing at the piano, and then it led into the novel phonics. And I have written 7 volumes on the topic, and and I've done probably close to 50, 60 pieces, maybe even 100. I have a symphony and other pieces that I've used novel phonics in. I've used it in commercial music as well. I just don't use it all the time because I have to strip it out, right? Because it's so new and different.
So that's how you earned your name, the Maestro, because you're kind of a musical genius, I would say.
Yeah, people say that, but I tell them it ain't genius, it's hard work. It's lots and lots of work. And then the light comes on eventually, right? And then you tap into something. I think the key is wanting to be the best person that you can be. Now, I'm a person that's into human potential and human evolution. That's why I started to meditate and study in that realm. And I think that because there's several routes you can go. You can go the gang route, or you can go the creative route. But everybody has creative gifts. There were gangs when I was growing up, but I didn't. I chose music, and not sports. But I was involved in speed skating. I was the only black speed skater in Michigan, and but music was my calling, so I said, well, this is it, right?
See how when you're creative, how one thing kind of segues into another and another?
Yes.
So a musician, and then you became an artist, and now you're also an author, and now you're also a speaker. I mean, so you do all of these things. Your creativity just kind of blossoms from one flower into a garden.
But I still had to plant the seeds and water it, right? It didn't just grow overnight, right? It's been a lot of work. And it all feeds into the entire picture, right?
Well, and the work, that is a little bit of what we want to know about, because the premise of this show is to inspire our listeners, to let them know that they can do this as well. They can do anything that they aspire to do.
Right.
It can be done.
I thought of something today that is very simple, and it must be synchronicity that we're talking about it now, because for every problem, there's a solution. A solution to everything. Any question you want to ask yourself, there's a solution. There's an answer. You just have to be aware of it and follow through and act on it, not just let it stay in your head. And it's just like the universe is not going to give you something that you don't work towards, so you have to put in the focus and the work. But the more questions you can ask, I'm one of these guys, you be in school, my hands up all the time. People say, put your hand down, Tony, to get out. That type of thing. And so I've learned to internalize that and ask myself questions on a conscious level, right, altered conscious level. And so that way I can tap into the stream of thoughts and energy and creativity, the flow, basically. That's what I call, the zone. One of the things I talk about is the Newton zone, getting into the zone. And when I'm in the zone, I can really become at one with anything, and it can give me its answers or solutions. I've kind of tapped into that. It's been a whole long growth process. Like I said, I've been through lots of religions, and I studied metaphysics. I got a doctorate in metaphysics, and out of all of this, studying with 5 gurus, and out of all of this, I'm a spiritual person, spiritual music artist, scientist. But some people call me a hyper creative. You know what? Right. But
what was the one thing that really gave you that push and got you started and really put you on the map? Because some people think it's unachievable, and then we also have the other group of people who think that you're just one of the lucky ones. You knew people, and you just kind of,
No, it has nothing to do with knowing anybody. No, see, the way it happens is opportunity greets those who work towards it. And so I was working towards, when you go out and work, things happen to you. When you focus on something, it's just like we decided we was going to do this interview. We decided, you decided, I decided, we came to this moment, and we made that decision. Now, finding people, that's a decision. And the solution is to find the right person. Right, but you do it in a way, that's not disturbing. And say, for example, this is one of my things. Behind every great person is a great teacher, because you can't be great unless you studied from a great teacher. So that's your first thing, is to find someone that's great at whatever it is you want to do. Like I say, everybody has creative gifts. And within those creative gifts, everybody has at least 5. And so, but you have to choose 1 or 2 to start off with. And a lot of people deny their creative gifts, whether it be a chef or whatever. All of us have very specific and unique talents that we are born with, but they're not going to develop unless we work at it, right?
Absolutely.
And then you have, these days, you have business and technology. So that's another challenging road that you have to toe. But it's worth it in the end, because you're still growing all the time.
So you had the support, I assume, of your family growing up.
No, I didn't. That's what everybody thinks.
That's what I wanted to get into, because, we were talking about your innate talents, and many people have those, and they know what they are, and they want to go in that direction, and they're discouraged by people, and their parents say, no, you're not going to be a model, you're going to college.
Well, it's a little bit of both. You can't tell. A person can tell another person what they're going to be if they're really passionate about it. In my case, there's nobody in my family that plays music, as far as I know. I don't know of anyone. And the only support I got was them buying me an instrument, right? And it wasn't like they was coming to all my concerts as a kid or something like that. But after I became grown, then they were, of course, proud of me. They want to show that, like they were there all the time, because, right. But, that's another thing that I've learned. I mean, people have to look at nothing in this world is easy. You're not getting, to a plateau easy. You have this like climbing Mount Everest or anything. You have to set your mind to it and then devote yourself, but love it enough so that you can weather the challenges that's going to come in front of you. Because even in your learning, you're going to have, it's just like riding a bike, right? You fall off, you get back on. You fall off, you get back on, right? And you continue to ride. You know, I discovered one thing about the bike itself. Let's say that's a person's first taste of freedom. Right, when they get a bike, they ride around the block, ride all over the place, and they don't realize how that influences. It's going to influence them as an adult, as you know, they're thinking, because they're not there yet. You have to look back on it, and you can see. I guarantee that people that had bikes got cars as soon as they could, right? And so because they realized the benefits of freedom in that particular dimension, right? But when it comes to personal talents, you know, you just can't give up, and you're going to have people saying they don't like it, but you have to be real with yourself and figure out what the right thing is. And then all of that changes, Mark.
Absolutely.
And you can't please everybody at the, what I'm trying to say, you can't please everybody 100% of the time. Right, 100% of the time. You can't be perfect 100% of the time, and you can't please everybody 100% of the time. But you can get pretty close to that, but that's just the way life is, right? We get challenged every day.
You're really serious, and that this isn't just a fluke, or this isn't just the next thing, and that you're really serious about it, and you're dedicated to it, and you're passionate about it. I think it really changes their view on how they originally perceived it. They may have initially thought it was a waste of time, but then they kept having to walk past your room and see you rehearsing one day and realize that you truly are talented. It may change how they feel about it. And we need to take a commercial break. And, we will be back, ladies and gentlemen, with more from the Maestro right after this.
WLHR, Las Vegas Hot Radio, the heart and soul of Las Vegas music.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to What's Up Las Vegas with your host, Lynelle Baker. If you're just joining us, we're talking with Mr. Tony Newton. We have been talking to Tony about his upbringing and the instruments that he plays, his time spent at Motown, playing with Diana Ross, Smokey Robinson, Stevie Wonder, you name it. He's kind of a musical genius. He's been inducted into the Hall of Fame. He now has a new album out, and we'd like to talk to him a little bit about his new album, also listen to some of his music, and talk about a performance that he has coming up in Detroit, Michigan. Tony, tell us a little bit about your music, your new album.
Okay. It's titled The White Light Collection. It is a collection of music that is both instrumental and vocal, and different sonic atmospheres, as I would call it, because I even have, it doesn't follow the normal album format. Now, I've created a genre called funk rock fusion. Now, what that means is that it's high energy music, funk bass, and it has the intricacies of jazz. And that's the fusion part, where they're all fused together. However, I put them, different songs I do different things with. Some are very melodic and simple. Like, I did put 2 piano pieces on it, because I saw another artist do that. He's a black rock artist, Tony McAlpine, and he had all these rock tunes on, and then in the middle of it, he'd play some Chopin. So I said, well, I'm going to do that. You learn from everybody. I learned from Cardi B, right? So, I mean, Cardi B, she's she's done a hell of a thing, breaking out from the beginning and being independent. She's the one that's gained the most success, right? Being independent, because that's what we all are today. But she eventually signed with a record company. Now, you have to watch out for that type of thing, because the record company wants to pigeonhole you and say, to get you to do what they want you to do instead of allowing your creative juices to flow. So back to the album, that's why I'm independent, and I put on the album. Some of the songs are, well, let's put it this way. I try to write timeless music, and so good, that just means that the music is good, and timelessness is after effect of it. And because the reason why I'm saying that is, most all of my songs have become classics. So if the song has the meat and the passion and the consciousness in it, and you delve deep in it, just like Stevie Wonder, right? All his songs are timeless, and or Beethoven's music is timeless. What does that actually mean? What makes music timeless, or it goes through ages and eons? It's because it's the real thing, and it touches you in a way, that you may not understand, but you understand that you like it and you want to hear it again and again because the vibration. So with White Light Collection, I give you a sampling from Stop That Shit to Follow Your Heart, right? And so I'm going to give you the full spectrum of emotions. There's Romance, which is a piano piece that's very melodic. It's just solo piano, right? Then there's Prophecy. It's tremendous piano work, right? And then we have a couple of fusion instrumentals, Sunset Cruising and Hollywood Bop. They're, because what's happened with fusion itself, it was popular in the 70s. It kind of started to fade because, frankly speaking, most people don't know how to play or write fusion. It's not just doodling and playing a bunch of notes. It has form and meaning. And if it doesn't, then it's not real fusion. So I'm still waving the banner of fusion all these years, right? So, and I've been growing into it. What I was getting back to was some of my pieces are now 30 years old, 20 and 30 years old. But you would never know that. They were calling me, Tony, put me on this, Tony, put me on this recording. And so that's what I did, and I'm very happy with the result. So, I mean, we can listen to a couple of my, if we take a smattering, let's say you play Yo People.
Yo People? Okay.
Yo People, yeah.
Tell the listeners a little bit about Yo People. What is it about?
Okay, Yo People is...
You write that one? You wrote that?
I wrote everything. Okay. Right. And so, Yo People is about bringing people together, because it's so much craziness going on in the world. A lot of it's our fault, and a lot of it's not. But at the same time, we're the only ones responsible for what has to happen. And so... it's a song of love and harmony, family, and presented in a different way, right? Now, I bring everybody into it, my expression of love and harmony. Let's put it that way.
So it must be followed by Stop That Shit.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Right. Because that, like in the world of love and joy, there's too much pain, and so it talks about greed and, all the stuff that's going on, and sometimes you need a wake-up call. So,
absolutely, we need a wake-up call right now with everything going on in the U.S. So why don't we take a listen? I know the listeners are dying to hear Yo People, and then why don't we listen to Stop That Shit right after? The two kind of go hand in hand, and it totally ties in with what's going on in the world today. So we'll be right back after this.
Yo, people, there's a lot of love lost in the world today. A lot of anger and hate going on. you to know I got plenty love for you.
Listen, people, listen.
Oh, your mother, your father, your brother, your sister, I love you so, right now and forever. Your mother, your father, your brother, your sister, we'll climb that mountain together. Oh, yes we will. Your planet, your children, your family, your people, life is better than it seems.
Better than it seems.
Your planet, your children, your family, your people, we've got to keep alive our dreams. Your lover, your partner, your cousin, your friends, let's keep love burning bright.
Keep love burning.
Your lover, your partner, your cousin, your friends, let's follow love's guiding light. High, oh, through times of passion and pain, always remain. Through times of loss and gain, always be the same. Within my heart, there's no hesitation. You give me so much inspiration. Your mother, your father, your brother, your sister, I love you so, right now and forever. Your mother, your father, your brother, your sister, we'll climb the mountain together. Everybody, your mother, your father, your brother, your sister, I love you so, right now and forever. Your mother. In this world of love and joy, there's too much pain. It seems that there are those that only care about gain. Take, take, take is all that's on their mind. Take, 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 leave all of us far behind. Taking food for future generations, messing up the world beyond imagination. Blow my mind when I think about the need for greed. It hurts oh so deep. It's like a bad cancer indeed. You know who I'm talking to. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know who I'm talking to. I'm talking to you. Stop that shit. What you doing? What you doing? You got to stop that shit.
Stop it! What you doing? What you doing?
Stop that shit.
Stop it!
Listen up. School closing, business going down the drain. There's enough for us all. There's no need to take a big fall. I don't wanna say this to you, but it seems like you ain't gonna stop. Choking the life out of God's great land, taking the soul of a generous man. All the odds are stacked at the top, but there comes a day when it's just got to stop. It blows my mind when I think about the need for greed. It hurts oh so deep. It's like a bad cancer in me. You know who I'm talking to. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know who I'm talking to. I'm talking to you. Stop that shit.
What you doing? What you doing?
You got to stop that shit.
Stop it! What you doing?
Oh, stop that shit.
Stop it! What you doing?
More music with less interruptions. Las Vegas Hot Radio, the heart and soul of Las Vegas music.
Now, on with the show.
Right here on LasVegasHotRadio.com.
Wow, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to What's Up Las Vegas with your host, Lynelle Baker. Wow, we are here with the Maestro, and we have just listened to Yo People and Stop That Shit, and excuse the expletives, is truly needed in today's society with everything that we have going on. And wow, Tony, I'm really impressed. Those are two very powerful pieces. Wow. We talked a little bit before we went into the songs about what inspired you to write those. You just kind of followed your heart.
Yeah, I followed my heart, and I wrote that song, Follow Your Heart, as well, right? And really, truly, it is about following your heart. And so then I had to figure out a good way to present it. And so then I thought about a combination of Chef and Papa was a Rolling Stone, but with my touch on it and more evolutionary to where it would be today. I think of it, it's a 13-minute piece, really. And so in my album, I have two albums, right? I have a radio edition, which is short versions of all of the songs, like 4 minutes. And then I have the collector's edition, which is all of the songs, the full length, right? And so, like I said, Follow Your Heart's a 13-minute song, and it goes through several different time changes and sections. But in the end, you're going to think about yourself. It's going to give you thoughts about I'm going to do what I want to do, right? In a good way, right? In a positive energy way. I need to follow my heart, because they say that the heart is the brain, really, right? And the brain functions, but the heart is really the true brain.
The heart is treacherous. They say follow your heart.
You know what they say? The heart is treacherous. Follow your heart, but take your brain with you.
Your heart will have you doing things that if you don't think about it with your brain, it's not good decisions.
Right. In this case, I talk about the power of, because sometimes people think about things too much. Well, it's too much thought when they should just go with the heart. You know, there's a yin and yang to everything, right? As you mentioned, right? You can do treacherous.
There are occasions where you should follow your
right. I think I did achieve, if this song has the Motown sound, it's not simply because I'm playing the bass, and I have the Motown sound in my fingers, right? And so, but it's in the compositions as well, because I've learned from the best, like Holland Dozier, Holland, and Smokey, and they've influenced me greatly to my best, right? So I'm very proud of Follow Your Heart. I'm proud of the whole album, each piece on it, from because when you listen to the solo piano pieces, that will give you another dimension and another feeling. But because I put one tremendously fast one on there and high energy, and one that's quite the opposite. Now, Star Romance, I wrote that it's got to be 40 years old. Every time I play it, there are people that cry when they hear it. I had to put it on this album, and I'm glad that I did. I believe the White Light Collection is a journey and an experience for the human soul, spirit, and mind.
You have a show coming up in Detroit, Michigan, and that's really going to be a treat.
Yeah, at the Aretha Cafe in Detroit. It's the lower floor of the Detroit Music Hall. Now, here's a story. I'm playing at the Aretha Cafe, but I'm going to tell you a story that not many people know about.
For your show?
It's August 21st.
Okay.
And I'm doing 2 shows. And the first one is at 6:30. You can go on the internet or my Facebook page, and all the information is there.
Well, do you want to give the listeners your Facebook page?
It's Tony Newton Music Artist.
Okay. Is that a .com?
Because it's Facebook.com/Tony Newton Music Artist. Right. Or Tony Newton TNT Extreme. That's the name of the group.
Okay. Are you on Instagram?
No, there's Tony Newton Music. That's my website. That's where they should go. I'm sort of like in the print school, and so everything comes from my website, but I realize the importance of Facebook and Yahoo. And now people want me to do things on Instagram, but I really don't have time to be doing all that. I'm trying to create great music, right? And so Instagram is all about your phone. And I turn my phone off, right? My phone is off most of the time, only when I need to use it. Now, when I go to Detroit...
You're supposed to get somebody else to do it for you.
Right, exactly. You said it. And so far I haven't. But let me tell you this story. So, Aretha is doing Carnegie Hall. And her bass player... father died. Let me tell you that this story it's quite interesting. It's interesting for me, and I've had a couple of these types of things happen to me in my life. So there's a concert at Carnegie Hall, the great Carnegie Hall, and it's Aretha Franklin, and so her bass player's father passed 2 days before she's about to perform. They call me 2 days before the gig, and so I go in and read the music and play Carnegie Hall with her, and now I'm playing the Aretha Cafe. But I've worked on her album as well, right? I've worked with her also. I always loved that Carnegie Hall story, because I had to go in and read the music perfectly and give her what she needed, because it goes beyond just reading the music. And you have to put some feeling and passion into it. That's what I had to do. And I did that with
if you weren't playing it right, she would have sent you right out.
Right.
Because Aretha didn't bite her tongue, so she would have right out of there. No, she did. She always said what she wanted to say, and that's a good thing. If it ain't right, it's not right. I respect people like that. I love people who are honest and frank. You also work with the Funk Brothers, Beans Bowles.
I was working with the Funk Brothers and Beans Bowles when I first got with Motown. In fact, when we came back from the European tour. That is on my page, a video of that. It's black and white, and clips from it. It was a European tour, and we did record an album. It's called Motown Review in Paris. It's been re-released on CD, I think, last year. I played with the Funk Brothers on the tour, and then when we got back, that's when they asked me to play on these sessions with the Supremes and Vandellas and other people, and there was actually two basses. A lot of people don't know that Holland and Dozier liked to, that was one of their things, was to use two bases. I was really fortunate and a blessing for that to happen. As you can see, it's still, as of today, it's still a great song. Another thing, we were talking about timeless music, right?
Yeah.
And so, yeah. And I toured with Jack.
Music from that era is timeless. I mean,
yeah,
it's
true.
They don't make music like that anymore.
True that. That's why White Light Collection is the real thing. And so,
how do you feel about people sampling it? You know, Beyonce just remade Frankie Beverly's song. What do you think about that?
You know, I don't mind a sample. I did a sample. It hasn't been released. I did a song called "The Black Boys Are Rockin'" because rock music comes from black guys playing the blues, right? And so what I did, John Lee Hooker, T-Bone, all these guys. So what I did is I took a sample of each one of them and put it in the song, right, in each verse, just to prove the point, right? And so I'm into technology, but I build my own computers, right? I use technology to the hilt. People ask me, how did I get the sound that I have? When you listen to the White Light Collection, it doesn't sound like anything else, and that's another dimension that I've worked on it, and it's very important, is the sound. So
where can the listeners purchase or download the White Light Collection?
They can download a free, what's happening is I'm setting up a new streaming service called ArtistStream, because all the streaming companies, Spotify and the rest of them, they're taking all of the money and not giving the artists any. And that's their, like in the millions and millions of streams. And so I came up with this technology where all the independent artists can stream from their own website. And that's why it's called ArtistStream, and the prices are reasonable. It will be a boon for a lot of music artists, right? So what's happening is I'm going to release this first wave of White Light Collection through ArtistStream, and it will probably be next month, because I'm going to Detroit, and I'll be busy with that, Detroit and Chicago and Cleveland, and then when I come back, I'm going to focus on getting ArtistStream going, right?
And that is www.artiststream.com.
No, not yet. But you can go to Tony Newton Music, and there will be some ArtistStream.
There will be a link there.
Okay. Right. And they can still download one song. And what I'm going to do is, if the person gets the album, they're going to get all the videos with it as well, right? And so, because I believe in quantity and quality, right? And so, I want to make it a win-win situation for everybody. But we have to, artists have to support himself some way, especially if he's independent. And giving away all your music and free music, that's not going to help you. So they can go to the website and purchase, right?
Okay, and these are downloads, or they would receive a physical CD?
I have all of that, right? You can get it as a physical CD, or you can get it as a download, and you can get it as a stream.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Because my demographic is very wide. In Detroit, I've been getting some flack from my promoters. The young people are probably not interested when I say, look, go on #1 music, and I've got tons of fans of #1 music who say my music changed their lives, and they're between like 20 and 35. Right? Even though my demographic is baby boomers, it seems to, and I wasn't worried about the younger ones.
Younger people love older music because we're listening to it, and they're listening to what their parents were listening to, what their mom listened to on Sunday when she's cleaning, on Saturday when she's cleaning up the house.
Well, that's what I listened to. That's what inspired me. And my stepmother was playing Little Richard and Elvis and all this other kind of stuff, and I had a clock radio, right? And that's when mine started.
Absolutely. Well, I think we should listen to Follow Your Heart. So let's take a break. We need to take a commercial break and get a few of our commercials in, but I would like for the listeners to hear Follow Your Heart. Ladies and gentlemen, let's take a listen to Follow Your Heart, and we'll be right back after this.
Did I hear you say you want more out of life? History's pages, a real diamond of truth, a passed down through the ages. Some say it's the seed of the soul, some say it's better than gold. The finest of treasure, a fountain of pleasure, where heaven and earth meet, where hope and joy greet. When you're feeling all uptight, things ain't going right, life is heavy on your mind, it seems so hard to feel fine. When you're feeling low and life is moving way too slow. When you're feeling down and sad, got no reason to be glad. Your head's full of confusion, it's time for a soul confusion. Even if you feel like dying now, you gotta keep on dying, yeah. Sometimes our head gets in the way, sometimes thinking it just don't pay. Give yourself a little compassion, it's time for a love transaction, yes it is. Give yourself compassion, it's time for love transaction.
More music with less interruptions. Las Vegas Hot Radio, the heart and soul of Las Vegas music.
Hey, I've been meaning to ask you, where'd you get that lipstick?
It's Tantus Cosmetics by Nadanya. Girl, they have over 42 vibrant hues of the sheerest of pure to the boldness of cobalt blue.
Wow.
With exciting shades of nude, pink, red, and orange, and anything in between.
Well, I just love it. Can I find it online?
Yes, at TantusCosmetics.com.
It's a deal. I'm going on TantusCosmetics.com.
And you can find it at Macy's, 12 Oaks, Novi, Michigan, and Lenox Mall in Atlanta, Georgia. It's Tantus Cosmetics by Nadanya.
Now, on with the show.
Right here on LasVegasHotRadio.com.
All right, that was amazing. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to What's Up Las Vegas with your host, Lynelle Baker. And you were just listening to Follow Your Heart. Absolutely amazing. If you're just now joining us, we have been talking for a little while now. We're getting close to the end of the show. We've been talking to the Maestro, Mr. Tony Newton, about his life and his career in the music industry. And we just listened to Follow Your Heart. Tony has done a lot of things because he's extremely creative and he's a musical genius. We didn't talk about how he got inducted into the Hall of Fame. Tony, you also have a book. You're an author, and you've also played in movies like An Officer and a Gentleman, and you can fill the listeners in on other ones. Well, tell us a little bit more about these things, your book and your movies.
Okay. Right. Keep me on track, though. Right. So, initially, the Hall of Fame was created. It's called WARM, World Academy of Recording Musicians. You know how everybody gets awards, the Academy Award for people working on films. Well, there's no such thing for music and recordings. Cornelius Grant and myself came up with this idea that we'd like to give musicians awards, even some posthumously, people that have passed on. And so that's how I got inducted into the World Academy of Recording Music, because I've played on so many hit records, right? And that's where that comes from. It depends on how many top 10 records you played on, how many number one records you played on, different categories for music and that type of thing. So that's Musicians Hall of Fame.
You made the cut, so that's very good.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Outstanding. You also have a book out?
Yes. Actually, I've written 15 books. All 15 books are on music and personal development. The Novophonics takes up 7 volumes, and then the rest of them are on personal, I call it personal enrichment. And then there's the one book, Gold Thunder, that is my autobiography. Right, so it takes you through my whole history up until a few years ago. In fact, I was thinking about making actually another movie, Groove Monster, because Groove Monster 2, because I don't know if you saw Stand in the Shadows of Motown. But there was one thing that was missing from there, and the producer, he didn't want to have things accurate. Now, they had my name in the credits, but they didn't have me in the interviews, and that's just not right. And so I wasn't in it, and pissed me off, and so I said, well, I'm going to do my own movie. And that's what I did. And so I did Groove Monster. That's what I call it, right? And so it is a reflection of the book and goes through my history. And we try to give as much visual information as possible. This is one of my things. People ask me what I like about the bass, or do I like playing bass. I was like, I don't play bass. I play music. How I started piano, because I was in the priesthood at the time, and I went to this temple, and the Creator spoke to me that I should go back to piano. So I did that, and so that journey, lasted quite a while. So the story of that and my discovery of Nova Phonics, my time with Motown, as well as a lot of the rock artists like the Mamas and Papas and G-Force and others, as well as Aretha and other artists that I've played with, because it's been so many, over 100, I'm sure. And I have album covers in the back of the book. And the movie captures the essence of all that on film. I had to go back and forth from Detroit and California to do interviews, with people. And that was fun. And then I had to learn video editing. But technology allowed me to do all of this. So I'm very happy that the technology was available, that I could do it. I could express this particular creative dimension.
How did you end up playing in An Officer and a Gentleman?
Okay, Officer and a Gentleman. Buffy St. Marie, she's a big artist of pop music, but her husband's name is Jack Nietzsche. Descendant of the real Nietzsche, and he's a composer, Hollywood composer, and I was his favorite bassist, and he wanted me on these Richard Gere movies, and so he brought me in on Officer and a Gentleman and Breathless, and I was, a lot of people say my music is cinematic, so I'll just let them pick what they want and use it. I have done, they use my symphony in the workers of the farms. I've done some Nassau stuff and Martin Luther King Awards music. And I would like to do much more movie or TV, but we'll see what happens. As I said, a lot of people, the instant they hear my music, they think cinematic. They see visuals, they see pictures, and that's good, but composing for movies is a different thing. But at least if you can feel that quality, that's why those people have come to me and want me to participate, right? Because each one of those dimensions requires a certain sensitivity to what's going on. Wow. I have a gift with that in the sense that I can tune into, because each artist is different in and of themselves, and so you have to tune into their artistry and figure out, okay, what's going to make them sound good? What's going to make them sound great? Not good, great, right? And so, and you want to become in the moment with them so that you can create some real magic.
And that's when you know you're a true artist, because it's the same as if you were painting a picture. You want the best likeness of your subject. Absolutely, yeah. You're a true artist. You're truly talented in so many different areas. Just absolutely amazing all the way around.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
No, really, truly. We've truly enjoyed interviewing with you today. I've truly enjoyed it.
Good.
I do want to make sure, however, that we plug your show coming up in Detroit, because someone's just tuning in. Tell us again when and where you're going to be performing, because I want to make sure that the listeners come out and support you and check it out. Right. And you guys, you're in for a treat.
Yeah, because what I'm doing these days is to the moon. That's what I would say. So this is, I'm reading the flyer. This is live in concert, acclaimed funk rock fusion music artist Tony Newton comes home to celebrate Motown's 60th anniversary. So the concert is around that, and it's at Aretha's Jazz Cafe at 350 Madison Street, Detroit, and it's on Wednesday, August 21st, and they should be there by 6, and there will be 2 shows, and they should go on my Facebook page. I'm going to put this up on my site as well. But right now, the action is going on Facebook. You can get the tickets from Ticketmaster or something like that. Make your reservations right, and I guarantee you'll have an enjoyable and enlightening evening.
So the first show starts at 6.
6:30.
What time does the second show start?
The second one is around, because I have to take a break after an hour and a half, right? And so because I do full out energy. And so I think we're going to do it around, because you have to be out of there by 11, maybe 9 o'clock.
All right, so about 9 o'clock, so you'll get about 2.5 hours in on each show.
Yeah.
It's a good amount of time.
I have a phone number here I'm reading. I just forgot about that. So the phone number is, for the tickets or more information, is 313-205-8321.
All right, you heard that, ladies and gentlemen, 313-205-8321?
Yes.
Okay. And you can call that number for tickets or for more information. And we'll be right back after this.
More music with less interruptions. Las Vegas Hot Radio, the heart and soul of Las Vegas music.
Hey, I've been meaning to ask you, where'd you get that lipstick?
It's Tantus Cosmetics by Nadanya. Girl, they have over 42 vibrant hues of the sheerest of pure to the boldness of cobalt blue.
Wow.
With exciting shades of nude, pink, red, and orange, and anything in between.
Well, I just love it. Can I find it online?
Yes, at TantusCosmetics.com.
It's a deal. I'm going on TantusCosmetics.com.
And you can find it at Macy's, 12 Oaks, Novi, Michigan, and Lenox Mall in Atlanta, Georgia. It's Tantus Cosmetics by Nadanya.
Now, on with the show.
Right here on LasVegasHotRadio.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to What's Up Las Vegas with your host, Lynelle Baker. If you're just joining us, we've been interviewing Mr. Tony Newton. This has been truly an amazing interview and a real treat. Tony told us about his show that he has coming up in Detroit at the Aretha Franklin Jazz Cafe. So you guys make sure you go out and check that out. If you missed the interview, we will be playing it again. And this will be played on Detroit Hot Radio and Las Vegas Hot Radio. So please be sure to take a listen because Tony's story is pretty amazing. You're absolutely dynamic, Tony. The Maestro, Newton, absolutely amazing story. And I'm really just kind of taken away and very impressed with everything that you do and that you've done over the years, all the people that you have worked with and graced their music with your musical presence. Someone of your stature, a lot of people look up to you and aspire to do the things that you've done. What type of message would you leave with our listeners? What type of message do you like to convey to the youth about being in the industry?
2 things. And Tina, this is like my words. Tina Turner said it. Anything is possible. I mean, did we think we were going to have a black president in our lifetime? I mean, out here, even though weed is legal out here, I never thought I'd see the day when weed would become legal. And so, it's like, that's a perfect example of how life can be. And so, but you have to tune into that dimension of life, right, and be passionate about it. And don't deny yourself. And go for what your dream is. Don't let anybody deter you from your dream. Now, in the meantime, you empower yourself through music. Right? Listen to a lot of music because it's going to get you through all those ups and downs. And that's why my byline is empower through music. and anything is possible.
Absolutely, and that's a powerful message. Your music is truly powerful. Music, it puts us in an up mood, a down mood. It makes us fall in love. Music can make us happy, sad. It's truly amazing. I don't know anybody who doesn't like music. Tony, thank you so much for your time and for gracing us here on What's Up Las Vegas, on Las Vegas Hot Radio. As you know, this interview will also be played on Detroit Hot Radio. We really appreciate you coming on. It's truly an honor for me to have the opportunity to interview you. Appreciate you.
Well, I appreciate you. The honor is mine because, sometimes, I have a conscious interviewer, right? And so I appreciate, your level of consciousness and your energy. And I think it's very valuable vehicle for the people to tap into to reach their potential.
Thank you so much. And we'll be back next week, ladies and gentlemen, same place, same time, on What's Up Las Vegas with your host, Lynelle Baker, on LasVegasHotRadio.com. Thank you, Tony.
You're welcome.
WLHR, Las Vegas Hot Radio, the heart and soul of Las Vegas music.